The morning sun barely peeked through the blinds of Emily's cramped apartment as she paced back and forth with her 6-month-old daughter, Lily, cradled in one arm. The baby's cries echoed in the small space, mixing with the frantic sound of Emily's voice whispering, "Shoo, please, just for a minute." With every second ticking by, her anxiety grew. Today wasn't just another day, it was the day of a job interview that could change everything. Her alarm had gone off late after a sleepless night, and the coffee she managed to brew sat untouched on the kitchen counter. With one hand, she tried to fix her hair in the cracked mirror, while the other fumbled through a drawer for a missing shoe. Her only blazer was wrinkled, her resume had a coffee stain in the corner, and her nerves were stretched thin. Still, she pushed on. Then came the message. The babysitter, her only hope, had cancelled. No backup, no family nearby. Her stomach dropped, eyes darting between her baby and the ticking clock. She hesitated, tempted to call and reschedule. But she knew this opportunity might not come again. Taking a deep breath, she packed Lily's diaper bag with trembling hands, grabbed her folder, and gently kissed her daughter's forehead. "We're going together," she whispered, heart pounding. Her makeup was rushed, her clothes imperfect, but her determination was clear. She stepped out the door with Lily in tow, late but unbroken, holding on to hope that someone might just understand. The elevator doors opened with a soft chime as Emily stepped into the gleaming corporate lobby, her heels clicking nervously against the marble floor. She was exactly 10 minutes late. Her cheeks were flushed, her breath uneven from rushing, and Lily let out a soft whimper in her arms. The receptionist glanced up, her smile fading slightly at the sight of the disheveled woman with a baby. Emily offered an apologetic smile, brushing a strand of hair from her face as she approached the desk. I am here for the 10:30 interview." "Emily Carter," she stammered, adjusting the diaper bag on her shoulder and holding out a slightly creased resume. The receptionist gave a tight nod and gestured for her to wait. People seated nearby in crisp suits and polished shoes glanced her way, some whispering behind their hands. Emily could feel their judgment like a weight pressing down on her chest. Lily began to fuss again, and Emily bounced her gently, murmuring softly to calm her. She wanted to disappear. Every moment felt like an eternity, her heart racing with the fear that her lateness, and her appearance, had already ruined her chance. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "I had no choice," she whispered under her breath, as much to herself as to anyone watching. The door to the inner office opened, and a voice called her name. With trembling hands and a determined heart, she stood up, clutching Lily close, and walked forward into the unknown. Emily stepped cautiously into the CEO's office, expecting cold stares or clipped professionalism. Instead, she was met with a warm, inviting room filled with sunlight and bookshelves, and a man in his 60s standing up to greet her, not with annoyance, but with a kind smile. "Ms. Carter, right?" he said gently. "And this must be your little one." She nodded quickly, flustered, adjusting Lily in her arms. "I'm so sorry for being late. The babysitter cancelled, and I." He raised a hand, stopping her mid-apology. "No need to explain. Life happens." Emily blinked in surprise. She had braced herself for disappointment, for the silent judgment that had followed her in the lobby. Instead, the CEO walked to his desk drawer and pulled out a small wooden rattle. "My granddaughter keeps toys here when she visits," he said, offering it to Lily, who grasped it curiously. They sat. Emily balanced Lily on her lap, trying to maintain composure, while answering questions about her skills, her experience, and her goals. But somewhere between her words, the CEO leaned in, clearly listening, not just to what she said, but to who she was. "You remind me of my mother," he said at one point. "She raised 3 kids on her own. Worked 2 jobs. Brought us everywhere. Strength like that, you can't teach it." Emily's voice caught in her throat. For the first time that day, she felt seen, not just as a struggling mom, but as a capable, determined woman. As Emily began to gather her things, carefully tucking her resume back into the folder and adjusting Lily's now sleepy form against her chest, she gave the CEO a grateful but nervous smile. "Thank you for your time, sir. I really appreciate you understanding, even if I didn't make the best first impression." Mr. Thompson stood up slowly, his hands folded behind his back. "Actually, you made a very strong impression, Ms. Carter." Emily paused, unsure if she heard him correctly. He walked around the desk and looked at her with quiet seriousness. "We've had a dozen candidates with perfect resumes and polished answers. But none of them walked in here with the kind of courage and grit you just showed." She blinked, stunned, unsure how to respond. "You've got the job, if you still want it," he said with a smile. "And one more thing, we have an in-house daycare on the 3rd floor. You won't have to worry about Lily while you work. She'll be right here, safe and happy." The weight Emily had been carrying for months, fear, pressure, doubt, suddenly lifted. Her lips parted in disbelief, and before she could stop herself, tears spilled onto her cheeks. She covered her mouth, overcome. I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You've said enough," he replied softly. "Now let's give you and your daughter a fresh start." Emily nodded, her heart full. In that moment, her entire life shifted. Because someone chose compassion over convenience. Weeks later, the morning looked entirely different. The same sun now filtered through cleaner windows in a modest but brighter apartment. Emily dressed with calm confidence, her blazer neatly pressed, her resume now replaced by a company ID badge. Lily, cheerful and giggling, sat in her carrier as they headed out the door, not to an uncertain interview, but to a promising first day at work. Walking into the corporate building, Emily held her head high. The receptionist who once looked at her with doubt now greeted her with a warm smile. She smiled back, stronger this time, and made her way to the 3rd floor daycare. Lily reached for her with sleepy eyes as Emily kissed her forehead and handed her over to the gentle staff who welcomed her like family. As she stepped into the elevator, nerves were replaced by something else, pride. When she reached her floor, Mr. Thompson was walking by, chatting with a colleague. He spotted her and gave a small, approving nod. "Glad to see you, Emily," he said. "We've been waiting for someone like you." Emily smiled, her voice steady. "Thank you. I won't let you down." As she settled at her desk, surrounded by a supportive team and the quiet hum of a new beginning, she reflected on that one morning, a moment where everything could have fallen apart, but instead, became the start of everything good. Sometimes, all it takes is one person who believes in you when the world expects you to fail.